Okay, it's Wednesday, the 20th of January, and today we're looking at Can I Plan a Story? Just before that, though, we're going to look at our spelling rule for this week. And our spelling rule this week is adding ly onto words. Most of the time, it's fairly simple, but there are a few things to remember. So firstly, most words simply add ly, and it creates an adverb. So, for example, sad turns into sadly. You just put ly on the end, and it turns that adjective into an adverb. If the word ends in a Y, as with a lot of things, a lot of endings, if the word ends in a Y, you just change that to an I first, and then you add ly. So happy will become happily. If the word ends in IC, and there are quite a few of these words, you add ly, not just the ly. So like dramatic would become dramatically, and you add ly. I often just say it like, as in say it a bit weird so I remember. So like dramatically. Just obviously that's not the word, but if you say it like that, it just kind of helps you remember that that's what you're adding on the end. That's probably the hardest rule to remember, that third one. And then the fourth one, if the word ends in an E, just like a lot of things we've been looking at in the last few weeks, if the word ends in an E, you drop the E first and then you just add a Y. So as in probable, you just drop the E and add the Y. You don't need to add ly on that occasion because it's already got an L. But yeah, you drop the E first. So using those rules, can you add ly to the following words? Okay, hopefully you had some time to pause the video there and just write out the words. So the first one, here's what you should have had. Make any corrections if you didn't get that. So the first one obviously ends IC, so it becomes comically. Fair was just normal, you just add ly. Reasonable, again, it ends in an E, and it's already got that L, so you just drop that E, add the Y on to get reasonably. Joyful, just straight away, just normal, just ends in an L, so you just add ly. So you do have two L's there for joyfully. Funny, obviously it ends in a Y, so you change it to an I to get funnily. Same with angry, ends in a Y, so you change it to an I. And then basic ends in IC, so that would be basically. So you end the A, the double L, and the Y. I've just noticed that actually when you get words like reasonable, because you've already got an L, you don't add another L. But then when it comes to joyful, even though you've got an L, you add another L to get two L's. So I think we'll look at that tomorrow just to make sure we're really clear on the rules are there. But they're your four basic rules with that ending. Okay, so we are looking at planning a story. Now, we haven't finished the min pins yet, and I will probably put a video on of me reading the next part in due course, or we'll read a bit at the beginning of each lesson. But this is our simple plot line then that we're going to sort of copy the idea of the min pins to create our own story. So here's our sort of four sections, really. You've got a boy, he's bored at home and he's dreaming of doing exciting things and he's not allowed to. Then he goes into the forest, doesn't he? We describe that forest, and then he hears this huge monster chasing him and he runs away. He climbs up a tree and then he meets a strange group of people, in this instance called the min pins, very small people. And then you're going to have your choice of ending. So we don't know what happens yet in the min pins. We will find that out, but we want your choice of ending there. So this is what we're looking to put in our work. So we've looked at this over the last couple of weeks. So we're looking at using some good descriptive expanded noun phrases for description. We're looking at using some powerful verbs we've looked at as well. We're looking at creating some sort of action sequence where Billy's chased by the monster. And then we've got some sort of dialogue where he's talking to these people. So where do they go? Where do we do these things? Because obviously you don't need to do all of them all the time. We don't have dialogue every single paragraph. It's only going to be in one of them. So this is where we'll fit them. So we're going to just get our good expanded noun phrases in that second bit, that second paragraph where we're describing the forest. And in that second paragraph, we're also going to get in some powerful verbs and our action sequence. And then our third paragraph, we're going to have that dialogue. So your last paragraph is completely up to you. And the first paragraph, again, we're just going to be describing Billy and kind of introducing the reader to the main character. And then obviously, yeah, your fourth paragraph is your own choice. So That's going to be the outline of your story. But what I want you to do is to plan your own one. So all I want you to do is to draw, like I've got four boxes on your screen there to represent the four parts of the story. And they're going to ask you some questions so that you can plan your story so that we're not all writing exactly the same story. So you can copy the min pins very, very closely if you like, or you can change loads and loads of it and make it, really very different, just depending on how confident you are, how much you like the story, that kind of thing. But in your four boxes in your book today, what I want you to do is think about some answers to these questions. So in your first section, I want you to think about, well, what's the boy's name? He's called Little Billy in the book, but you can change it. Let's change it to something else. What's he dreaming of doing? It doesn't really say that in the book, but we did think about that early on in that first week. So have a think. What is Little Billy dreaming of doing? And then what's outside? What's he looking at? Is it the forest of sin, like it is in the book, or are you going to change it to something completely different? It doesn't have to be a forest at all. Could be a cave, could be a river, could be a mountain, could be anything. So maybe you want to change that bit. In the second bit, what's the forest like? Or, of course, if it's a cave or a mountain, what is it like? How are you going to describe it? What sounds does a monster make? Does it breathe smoke and fire, like in Min Pins? Or is it going to be your own monster? Does it do something completely different? Does it fly? Does it make a different kind of sounds? And how does he escape from it? Because, of course, in the book, Billy climbs up a tree. But if you're doing a cave or a mountain or something else, it might not. You might decide to not have him climb up a tree. He might escape in a different way. Third paragraph, just really quick, have a think what those people and creatures are going to be like and where they're going to live. So they're like tiny sort of old-fashioned people in the Min Pins who live inside hollow trees. So what are your people going to be like, or creatures, and where will they live? Is it going to be something different? And then finally, the last bit is completely up to you. What's going to happen in the end? We've got this monster. Does he defeat the monster? Will it defeat him? Will he escape? I've put he throughout, and because I was thinking about Little Billy, and I've said what's the boy's name, but of course, can be a girl. It doesn't have to be a boy. It can be a girl. So it could be, will she defeat the beast? Will it defeat her? Will she escape? And then finally, what about the people that they've met? So is he going to save them? Will they save him? Maybe his mum's going to come and save him. Maybe mum comes back into the story. So completely up to you. So we'll leave it there. It just needs you to have those four boxes, answer some of those questions about your story so we make it your own story. But that's it for today. And I look forward to seeing some of those plans.